After a long cold winter, we finally got our first taste of mild temperatures, and now all we can think about is springtime and starting seeds for our vegetable garden. Like clockwork, each year the first warm spell of late winter has us itching to start seeds for our garden, and some of the first crops we rush into starting from seed are our tomatoes and peppers, the quintessential summer crops. And when we are sowing them, it's also very tempting for us to start our cucumbers, squash, and melon seeds at the same time. But whatever you do, do not start your cucumber, squash, and melon seeds before you watch this video. These plants break all of the rules, so if you don't know this information, you can ruin your entire season before it starts.
If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and check out my Amazon store and Spreadshop links in the video description for everything I use in my garden and awesome custom apparel and gear.
Today is February 21st, and it's an overcast day here on the southeastern coast of North Carolina and fairly mild at about 55 degrees. So I'm using this relatively mild overcast weather to sun acclimate some of my seed starts. And most of these are cold hardy crops like leeks and cilantro and dill. And I also have a lot of my late winter seed starts like bok choy, romaine lettuce, cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, things like that. But you'll also notice next to it, I have some basil and some early season tomatoes. These are going to go out early into my garden before my last frost date, but in these containers to get them started for a big jump start in the season. And alongside these early season basil and tomato transplants, I also have some overwintered peppers. This was just a little nub that I dug up and I cut down in early November last year, and it has grown so much, and it is already flowering profusely. I am going to get such an early season harvest off of this pepper plant. But something you won't find growing alongside any of these plants are cucumbers, squashes, and melons, and that is for a very good reason. Tomatoes and peppers are part of the nightshade family, and nightshades take a long time to go from seed to mature seedling to transplant out into your garden. A tomato or pepper seed takes about 7 to 14 days just to germinate, and then from there it takes about another 5 to 7 weeks for the seedlings to become mature enough for transplanting. So from the day you sow that seed, it takes about 6 to 8 weeks to grow them indoors to transplant them out into your garden. Cucumbers, squashes, and melons are part of the cucurbit family, and they take only about 3 to 5 days to germinate from the day you sow that seed, less than half the amount of time of nightshades. And from there, they grow very quickly. Cucurbit transplants are ready to go out into your garden only 3 to 4 weeks after germination. So the whole process is half the time or slightly less than tomatoes and peppers. So if you start planting your cucumber, squash, and melon seeds at the same time, they are going to be ready for transplanting over a month before your tomatoes and peppers are. But it gets worse. Because your cucurbits are vining crops, they're going to get very large and they're going to crawl all around your indoor space. They're going to try to vine and climb all over your other plants. They're going to grow on top of your grow lights. It's going to be a nightmare to manage, and since your last frost date is still going to be 3 to 4 weeks away, you're going to have to manage these large vines growing out of control indoors. But things get even worse still. You see, your nightshades, your tomatoes and peppers, are subtropical plants. Yes, they are sensitive to frost and freeze, and you have to wait for your last chance of frost date to pass before you transplant them out into your garden. As long as they don't get hit by frost and freeze, they can otherwise tolerate relatively cool temperatures briefly underneath 40 degrees. So if you transplant them out into your garden and it dips below 40 and it doesn't frost or freeze on them, or you cover them well and the temperatures get warmer during the day, the plants will recover and they will be okay. They can handle the temporary exposure to chilly weather. This is not the case for your cucurbits. Your cucumbers, squashes, and your melons are extremely tropical plants. They are not subtropical, so they can't tolerate prolonged temperatures below 50 degrees. So if you're still getting into the 40s at night or below 40 degrees, that can outright kill your cucurbit plants, whereas your subtropical species will bounce right back. So for this reason, I can start some small stature dwarf tomato or determinate tomato plants or some pepper plants, and I can transplant them out early in containers like this and just carry them inside on my sunroom on a night where it's going to frost or freeze, and that can allow me to get a huge jump start on the season because I can easily protect these plants from frost or freeze, but they can otherwise handle the below average or the otherwise chilly temperatures that are in late winter, early spring, as long as they get that frost and freeze protection. And this is also why once your last chance of frost has passed, it is safe to plant your tomatoes and peppers out into your garden. But I can't do this with my cucumber, squash, and melon plants. In fact, just to be safe, I wait 2 to 3 weeks after my last chance of frost before I transplant those plants out into my garden, because it's not enough to just be frost and freeze free. I want the average temperatures of the night to come up a few degrees so we stop dipping into the upper 30s, low 40s. I want it to be so those plants are never subjected to prolonged temperatures below 50 degrees. So for that reason, I want to transplant them out a little bit later than my tomatoes and peppers. So if you're doing the math alongside me, you're starting to see why it is a catastrophic mistake to start your cucumber, squash, and melon seeds at the same time as your pepper and tomato seeds. Not only are your cucurbit seedlings ready for transplant in half the amount of time, but you don't want to put them out into your garden until about 2 to 3 weeks after you could otherwise safely transplant your tomatoes and peppers. So if you start all of those seeds at the exact same time, you are basically starting your cucumber, squash, and melon seeds 5 to 6 weeks too early. And then you're going to have to manage those vines for those 5 to 6 weeks, which is probably not going to work out for you, and those seedlings are probably going to fail. And you'll have to start all over again. So here is what I recommend. For your tomato, pepper, and other nightshade plants like tomatillos and ground cherries and things like that, start those seeds 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost date, because they take a while to germinate and grow into mature transplants. Once you have safely passed your last frost date, you can then transplant them out into your garden. If you want to be safe, you can withhold them for another 7 to 10 days, but if you're not going to get any more frosts and freezes, because those are a little bit susceptible to heat stress, I recommend you get them out into your garden as soon as you can, as long as the weather is safe. But for your cucurbits, your cucumbers, squashes, and melons, start them from seed 2 weeks before your last frost date, because they're going to take less than a week to germinate, and they generally only take 3 to 4 weeks to grow into mature seedlings for transplanting out into your garden. That will have you transplanting them out into your garden about 2 weeks after your last frost date, which will give the weather pattern some time for the average nighttime temperatures to tick up a few more degrees. And worst case, if you're still going to get a relatively late cold front, you can withhold them indoors for 1 more week and the vines won't be incredibly intrusive. But I also have another massive growing tip that will forever change the way you grow cucumbers, squashes, and melons, and that is to change your mindset and don't view them as a single summer crop. You see, when you transplant your peppers and your indeterminate tomatoes out into your garden in the early to mid-spring, they have the capability of growing and surviving all throughout the summer, all the way into fall until they get hit by a frost. So they can grow indeterminately and ever bear for you throughout the warm season. But this is not necessarily the case with cucumbers, melons, and squashes. You see, they have a much shorter lifespan. They germinate quickly, they grow quickly, and they die quickly. So unless you have a very short growing season, one simple wave of these crops is not enough to get good harvests throughout the year. So what I want you to do from here on out, for your cucumbers and your fast fruiting squashes like zucchini and things like that, I want you to start succession planting them. I want you to start fresh seeds every 4 to 6 weeks, with the idea that my initial planting is going to get killed by heat, by squash bugs, by cucumber beetles, by fungal diseases, whatever, and the vines are going to tire and quit on me. So I want to have young, fresh plants waiting in the wings to put in a different area in my garden. That way, when the initial planting is starting to die out and slow down, the next planting is coming into its own. Then 4 to 6 weeks later, start another wave of cucumber and fast fruiting squashes like zucchini and put them where the old plants were that died out, or in a different safe location in your garden. The idea is to always have young, healthy vines that are vibrant and in the peak time of production. You can do this succession planting with these plants because they grow so quickly and they fruit only about 40 to 50 days from the day you sow that seed. So here where I live on the southeastern coast of North Carolina, I can have 5 to 6 different waves of cucumbers and zucchini in one single summer. So no matter where you are, you can grow multiple waves. Succession planting watermelons and large fruited winter squashes may not be possible unless you have a very long growing season where you can get a second wave in, but that being said, there are lots of smaller melons and smaller squashes out there that you can plant successively throughout the summer and get multiple harvests. But hey, that's what all the fun in gardening is. Look at some smaller fruited varieties, try different things, see how far you can push your zone and how much fruit you can get by planting them every 4 to 6 weeks. Now I'm going to give you some of my favorite variety selections. Over the last decade, I've grown nearly 100 different types of cucumbers, melons, and squashes, and these are some of my best findings. And by the way, I'll place links to all of these different varieties down in the video description for your convenience. So let's start with cucumbers. The 5 best cucumbers I've grown to date are Merlin, Party Time, Isnik, H19 Little Leaf, and Crispy Crunchy. But what makes these varieties so incredible is they are all gynoecious and parthenocarpic. So they produce only female flowers, which is what gynoecious means, and parthenocarpic means they set fruit without pollination, and with no pollination they will actually be seedless fruits. So this is not GMO or anything like this. This is a natural trait that is exploited via breeding, and as a result you get absolutely insane productivity, the most insane productivity I have ever seen. And because they don't require pollination, you can grow them all under insect netting, so you never have to worry about pickle worms, cucumber beetles, or any other pests. Merlin is more like a standard 6 to 8 inch long cucumber. It's an English type. Your Party Time cucumber is another English type, but it's more like 3 to 4 inches long, so they're smaller and they're great for pickling. Isnik is a lot like Party Time. It's also a somewhat mini cucumber that is great either sliced into salads or you can pickle them whole. Your H19 Little Leaf is more like the pickling type, the dill pickling type, like a Boston pickler or the Kirby kind that you're used to seeing, whereas Crispy Crunchy is one of those cornichon cucumbers that are made into gherkins. They are all very small. So if you grow all of these, you'll have a wide variety from a larger cucumber to a mid-size, to your pickling types, to your minis. So they kind of have everything you're looking for. Then we'll get into our summer squashes. My 2 best zucchini that I ever grew were Sanabria and Dunja. They were the most productive, strong, and disease-resistant varieties that I've ever grown, and I had my best zucchini year ever last year because I selected these 2 varieties. However, what was really cool about Dunja was, as an experiment, I tried growing it under insect netting, and what I found was they are partially parthenocarpic. So while some of the fruits did abort and drop off, a couple of them stayed even without insect pollination. So if you want to try growing some underneath a net because you have issues with squash bugs and vine borers, Dunja will give you a bit of a harvest. However, growing them out in the open with pollinators, they are going to do much better, or with manual hand pollination. But the squash that truly blew my mind last year was Zucchino rampicante, sometimes called tromboncino squash. This can be eaten young as a summer squash when it's green, similar to a zucchini, or you can wait until it becomes mature and it will almost become like a butternut squash, and it will store for many months. The Zucchino rampicantes that I picked last October, I still have a couple left in my kitchen, and it's almost the end of February, and they look absolutely perfect. They can easily store for 4 or 6 months if you let them mature, and they are vine borer resistant. So I went through 3 different waves of zucchini that got killed off by the borers and the squash bugs, but my Zucchino rampicante was still producing. It made it almost as far as an indeterminate tomato. It was incredible. This year, I'm also really excited to try Seminole pumpkin. This is actually a squash that is native to Florida, so it is basically immune to the vine borer. So if you've ever wanted to grow a winter squash or a pumpkin and you find that you can't grow them because the vine borer or squash bug pressure is too high, try growing these. They are native to the southeast. This is supposed to be one of the toughest of all. And over the years, my two favorite melons have hands down been the Kajari melon and a small individually sized cantaloupe called Honey Rock. What makes these so incredible to grow is they are a small fruit that produces quickly. So if you have a shorter growing season and you struggle growing melons, these are perfect for you, and they also allow you to succession plant them. I can usually get about 3 to 4 waves of these out in my garden every single summer because they grow and they fruit so quickly. So if you find that you can't successively plant a lot of melons that are too long in duration and too long days to maturity, these actually make it possible. So explore some smaller fruited melons. They're really a game changer, and they both taste so good. So if you have struggled with growing cucumbers, melons, and squashes in the past, try some of these tips and these varieties that I featured in this video. I'm telling you, they will forever change the way you grow these plants, and you'll never go back to the old way again. So everybody, I sure hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and please ring the notification bell so you're notified when I release more videos like these. For all of the seed varieties and for everything I use in my garden for growing these plants, I place direct links down in the video description for your convenience. For everything I use in my yard and garden in real life, that is all linked in my Amazon storefront. So expand the video description, click on the Amazon storefront link, and you'll see everything I use in real life. And while you're down there, check out my website, themillennialgardener.com, for all things gardening and for custom home design merch if you want to support my channel. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see all of you again on the next video. Get your nose.